Our next guest is Erik Jonker, Coordinating Advisor for the Digital Commissioner. Welcome. What do you think blockchain can mean for the government in the future and now?
Blockchain is one of the big disrupting technologies of the current day. Its disruption is already widely described in various articles and books. But especially for government, blockchain is a very promising technology because of its characteristics.
Can you give an example?
Well, the high security, the ability to use highly distributed applications, and also the continuity of the whole technology. You have to imagine that governments use many databases, many sources of information, which are very vulnerable to attacks from hackers, from data getting lost. And the nice thing about blockchain is that at least for part of that data, it offers a solution for a completely new approach to building a data infrastructure for government.
So, and what are you doing exactly for the Digital Commissioner?
The reason that we are involved, that's the answer to your question, is that we are working on what we call a generic digital infrastructure for government. And that's quite traditional, but the things you use every day, like using a digital identity to do your tax, to declare your tax, to get services from government, but also things like the citizen registration, so that your name is known within government agencies, the value of your house, the size of your property. All that data is all part of what we call generic digital infrastructure of government. At the moment it's quite traditional and a bit old-fashioned, but if we think about the future, and that's why we're very interested in blockchain and working on it, we think that blockchain can play an important role in future government and future infrastructure for that government.
Because there's a gap now.
Yeah, well, the complexity is increasing of the information environment. A lot of data, and big data is one of the big trends of the past, but it's still a big issue. We also privacy is another element which is also very important. Well, the nice thing is that blockchain can offer partly a solution for some of the problems that exist.
Yeah, because I've read somewhere that you are a really big fan on the whole e-government solution.
Yes.
Can you give me your best fantasy about how our world looks like in about 5 years?
Yeah, my biggest fantasy is that on my phone or through my digital assistant, which is voice controlled, I can access government services. I can give permission to let my information be used. I can delegate authority to other peoples or other organizations to act on my behalf. And all those things are not possible because of the blockchain, because it's a whole complex of components you have to use. But blockchain can be a very strategic part in the infrastructure you need for that, for the authenticity, continuity, and the transaction part of it. And that's why we're very involved in this.
So to make this dream come true, we have to take a few steps.
Quite a few steps.
Yeah, quite a few steps, and that's also why you are here at the Hackathon.
Yeah, for the first step.
Yeah, for the first step, because this Dutch blockchain hackathon.
Yes.
Why is it so important in this whole process?
Well, I've been involved in for a few years now too, I think, in talking about blockchain, and there's been a lot of talk, and it's now time for action, time to do actual things.
So, what's the first step?
The first step is that we get together a coalition of governments, university and citizens and companies, and that they together work in an environment, technical and organizational, on blockchain pilots, solutions, ideas for the future. And that they're going to experiment how it actually works, what works, what doesn't work. And it has to be a co-production between those parties involved, because only companies or only government or only science will not work, and also will not bring a solution within a reasonable amount of time.
Is this cooperation already there?
No, we're building it.
Okay.
And the Dutch Blockchain Hackathon is, for me, an important part of building that coalition and building that ecosystem.
So in about 1 year, Normally we overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year,
yes.
And we underestimate what the outcome can be in about 3 years.
Yeah.
But in about 3 years, can you mention some concrete goals that we have reached?
In 3 years or 1 year?
First,
3.
3, yeah.
Well, in 3 years, I hope that for several important processes within government, there is something like a blockchain layer where transactions are, how do you call it, registered, and where we can also share those transactions with other people, and where we can share certificates with other people, and delegation with other people. That's my dream, and it will not be in 3 years for the whole of government, but it will be for certain service lines, so to say. For example, for your school certificate, or for of other certificates or education papers.
Yes.
I think on those partly solutions we can get forward in 3 years. That's quite doable.
Yeah, and a bit more maybe, because like I said, we underestimate a bit what we can reach in 3
well,
years.
if we go further, then but that's quite drastic and also completely contradictory to current plans, is that the whole identity system is based on blockchain. If we go completely to the revolutionary side, then there's no identity system as envisioned now, but there's a completely blockchain-based digital identity.
And what do you expect from the hackathon? Because what do you want to get from the hackathon?
I hope that the hackathon creates results in a way that the decision makers in the various, both in government but also within the companies, get enough feeling for the whole technology and organizational aspects that they have the guts to take the dive into the swimming pool. To say, okay, we have done an experiment, we've done a blockchain hackathon, we've seen results, they're not perfect, we've learned a lot, but we are convinced that we have to take a step forward and now go in full-scale development and implementation.
So the hackathon is also to shape their minds, and to experiment, and to...
Also for the technical side, just test things and what works, what doesn't work and what works, but also really for the awareness and to get people swimming.
Do you think the Netherlands can become a world player when it comes to blockchain?
Yes, we have a unique position because we have there's a lot complaining about government, but we have, in my opinion at least, we have a very high quality of government, very reliable, the data is very reliable and of high quality. So we can make it even an export product in my view. Because I always say to my colleagues, if Estonia can make it an export product, we can do that also.
So will it be an export product in 3 years?
I hope so. That will be at least for some companies.
So let's make a deal then. Thank you. What would you want to say about at least for some companies?
Well, the export product, companies have to export it. Government itself cannot export it. But I hope some companies will also grab the chance to build an industry and to bring it forward internationally.
Okay, thank you very much.